Welcome, everybody. Good to see you again. My name is Brooke Paxton. I am the school counselor here at Floodbrook, and I am joined today for 3 questions with Nora from Vermont Academy. Welcome, Nora.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
All right, we are going to get started with question 1. So, Nora, if you could share with us what your role is at Vermont Academy, so exactly what you do and how students would interact with you.
Absolutely. So my official title at Vermont Academy is Director of Admissions and Enrollment Management. I'm also an advisor for a group of our ninth graders, and I also serve as an administrator on duty, which means that I help make sure that everyone on campus is located and has access to all of the different activities we have going on. I act as like a check-in person for everybody. Students interact with me in a lot of different ways, depending on whether they are a prospective student just starting to learn about Vermont Academy, or whether they are an enrolled student and I might be their advisor or working with them as a tour guide or admissions ambassador in our office. When I connect with prospective students, I'm oftentimes learning a little bit about what their interests are, sharing with them aspects of our programs and opportunities, and helping them navigate the application process itself. I will be somebody that you would connect with during a visit to campus. I might be your interviewer for an admissions interview. And then if you join us at Vermont Academy, there's a good likelihood that I will be involved in helping to match you with an advisor in our community. And I might even end up being that advisor for you as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. Question 2, what support services does Vermont Academy offer to students?
Yeah, that's a great question. We offer a lot of different types of support. I'll start with kind of the big ones that are available to really anyone in our community. We have a fabulous health center, and that is staffed not only by nurses who are on duty all the time. We have 24-hour coverage because we are largely a residential school for our boarding students. We also have a fantastic counseling staff that's available to students, either through a weekly appointment that's already scheduled or for drop-in services. They also connect with all of our ninth graders as part of a rotation that ninth graders do through all of our arts offerings, and then they spend some time getting to know our counseling staff and working on building culture and learning a little bit about goal setting. So it's a really nice way to get connected to that resource early on in your career with us. For students who might have a diagnosed learning difference, or perhaps they're coming from a school where they have an established 504 plan or IEP plan, we do have a fantastic Center for Learning that will work with students and families to review your existing accommodations and talk about what that might look like in the Vermont Academy context. So some students are meeting with a dedicated learning specialist, and that happens outside of your classes. You're not removed from classes to get the supports you need. Rather, you have a free period where you're able to meet with your learning specialist. Some students are working with a learning specialist more for organization or executive function issues. And that is something that is tailored specifically to each student's needs. Beyond that, every student is placed in an advisory group with about 7 students total and 1 or 2 faculty advisors. This becomes like your family within the larger fabric of our school. And in advisory groups, we meet 3 times a week for up to 45 minutes each time. We work on not just academic check-ins, but we play fun games together. We also go through a structured goal-setting curriculum with students that evolves with them as they move up through each year that they're with us. So that's a really important layer of support. And then I would say outside of that, students, because of the nature of our community, 87% of our faculty live on our campus, which means that students have access to teachers and adults in the community outside of classroom contact hours. So you often end up forming really close relationships with someone who might be your math teacher and your advisor and your coach, or your dorm parent and your dance coach and your science teacher. Those are all people who become important people in your journey while you're with us.
Wow, that's a great list. Thank you very much. And question 3, if you could describe a little bit more about student culture at Vermont Academy.
Absolutely. In my role as admissions director, I'm involved in reviewing every single application that comes through our office, and I get to know most of our applicants. I meet you in person or over Zoom if you live outside of the U.S., and we get to kind of know you throughout the process. We love to see things like great grades on transcripts as a part of the application process, but some of the things that we're looking for that are a little less tangible include kindness. That's probably the number one thing I'm looking for in students. We are a smaller school of about 230 students total, so it's really important that everybody is able to recognize the inherent worth and dignity of every member of the community, and that we view each other as assets to this great living and learning experience we're going to go through together. I'm also looking for students who are curious about anything, something. It could be Taylor Swift. It could be, young adult fiction. It could be building your own gaming computer. I just want to know that there's something that kind of lights that spark for you. And when we start with those characteristics, being kind and curious, we end up with a really vibrant student culture of kids who are multidimensional. So, you might think of yourself as a soccer player or as a musician, but when you come to Vermont Academy, we're going to really encourage you to step outside of that known entity and try something that might be a little bit scary or a little uncomfortable, a new experience. That's where a lot of growth can happen. So we value students who know that there's so much in the world to explore, both academically and personally and artistically and athletically, and we want them to be engaged in lots of ways. We, as a smaller school, we have a lot of social fluidity amongst our students, and what I mean by that is you're not locked in to any one group. So I often watch students in the dining hall, and they may start the day sitting with their carpool buddies or the students from their dorm, but then at lunch they're sitting with students from chemistry class, and at dinner they're sitting with their friends from crew practice or mountain biking team. And there's no stigma attached to moving between groups. Everyone is really very welcoming and inclusive here.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nora. That concludes our questions. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for everybody who's tuning into this, and we'll see you again soon.
Excellent. Thanks so much.